Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majewski back with you here in the North Georgia Majewski Studios with a special tropical update for everybody this morning here on your June the 17th, 2026. All right, my job is to try to separate fact from fiction, and I'm going to give you guys the facts of what's going on here and what you can expect with this potential tropical influence here across our area. We do have flood watches up for parts of North Georgia, but I want to go ahead and set reasonable expectations. Now, today, weather-wise, we're looking at a great day, and I hope folks are able to get out and enjoy some sunshine and some warm weather, but things are going to turn wetter. Obviously, we got FIFA in town here on Thursday with a match going on. We have some wet weather there, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. But let's talk about all the specifics here on our potential tropical cyclone one is that we're looking at there right now. So anyway, I got the cameras up there for Galveston, Houston, Port Arthur, and Lake Charles. You can kind of see it's been raining there in Galveston all morning, and definitely looking at some heavy rains in Houston right now. Looking pretty foggy there right now for the moment. And again, we're seeing this rain starting to make its way up toward Louisiana, where they've had a lot of rain. There's a lot of flash flood warnings going on right now in that state as we're dealing with this. And we'll take a look here at the Galveston Bay area there. You kind of see the rough seas being kicked up there along the shoreline. Into the wind blowing just a bit there as we've got some of that ocean getting kicked up from this tropical system as it's starting to get itself moving. It is very, very close to the coastline, folks. You can see that here. It is just off the coast of Corpus Christi. Everything is on the right side of the storm, but all that moisture is plumbing up this way. And the track is going to be key, folks. Basically, wherever the center is and everything down to the south, that is where the heavier rains are going to fall. So if the track shifts north, and right now it looks like it's favoring south, most of the heavier rains should stay to the south. And I'm going to show you the latest model data on that here in just a second. Let's take a look at that radar a little bit closer here. You get an idea of what's going on here. We got that center of circulation kind of sitting right out here. All the shower and thunderstorm activities on the right. Looks like we got a little bit of wind shear here, so we're not getting any storms forming over the center of circulation. And that's another inhibiting factor, is the fact that the center of circulation is just barely over the water, and I mean barely. And if it stays too close to the coastline, it's never really going to get truly organized here, and it may not even make tropical storm status, although officially the Hurricane Center still anticipates the storm to perhaps become Arthur later today. Now, here's where the current watches and warnings are right now. Obviously, you see the flood watches up here from Georgia all the way back here down toward Texas. So we got all that in here with the flood watch. They have put up tropical storm warnings up here along the Texas coast and Louisiana coast right there in that red right there. These are heat advisories back here toward Texas, by the way. So again, all that moisture is streaming up in our direction, and we're going to see some heavy rains for some of the area potentially as we go in through tomorrow and on Friday. So let's look at that rain breakdown, the excessive rain forecast here. We'll kind of break this down for you. Again, this is your day one outlook here for today. You can see obviously where the heavier rains is there in the red with that moderate risk for flooding in that zone right there for today. As we go into Thursday, okay, all of North Georgia is under the umbrella because of all this moisture coming up, but the concentration is mostly down here across central Alabama, South Alabama, Mississippi, and into southwest Georgia. So not so much across our neck of the woods up here across North Georgia. So the heavier rains, at least based off what the folks at the Weather Prediction Center are putting out, are saying, hey, no, the heavy rains are going to be staying on the south side of this. Now, to go into Friday, there it is going into your Friday right there down to the south, and then Saturday, we're kind of clearing everything out. So Saturday's looking good. Sunday's also looking pretty good. We're going to be drier for the weekend, so some good news there coming on that front. Now, as far as severe weather is concerned, not pretty spotty, I think, with this. We're seeing a marginal risk there along the Gulf Coast here for today. This is your Wednesday outlook, day one outlook right now. As we go in toward day two, I see all the southeast here in a general thunderstorm, marginal risk of severe weather. So, again, maybe you get a special weather statement, isolated severe potentially if you got a squall line that kind of forms in there, like some of the models are indicating, but nothing too widespread here. I don't think this will be a big twister or tornado outbreak. You sometimes have to watch for that with landfall and tropical systems, but this thing so far being so poorly organized, I'm not overly concerned about that right now. As far as this being a problem, we can look at the categorical breakdown. There is that minimal 2% here coming up toward near Metro Atlanta, stretching back into this area here, going in for tomorrow with that. Now, and obviously the wind is probably the bigger factor here with some gustier winds potentially with some of these individual storms. That's what we'll be watching. Hail, not a problem with the tropical system. You don't have to worry about that. So anyway, so it's a very low risk tornado risk, and you notice it does not really get up above Interstate 20. So everybody here in North Georgia looks pretty good here as far as the severe weather outlook for tomorrow. So again, we're looking at a very poorly organized system, folks. Look, but a lot of healthy thunderstorms out here in the Gulf here for this morning. But again, the center of circulation's over here. That tells me we've got some wind shear, as I mentioned, blowing over the top of this thing and keeping it from really organizing here. Now that we're going to traverse along this old trough boundary and bring it up toward the north, and that's what's going to bring that heavy rain threat. So again, you got to see the track, and officially, like I said, they even taken tropical storm status like right up here, getting up toward the Galveston area here for this afternoon. So it does take it up here to up there, the 40-mile-per-hour winds at that point, and then back down to depression. So we'll see if we officially even get this thing designated as a depression, because it's not just yet. And we will see if it ever even makes tropical storm status, because it may not make that either. So we'll continue to watch closely to see if that becomes an issue as we go throughout today. All right. Now let's look at your here's your model output. Remember what I said. If this follows where the center of circulation, center track of this invest. Okay. So anything south of that line is where the heavier rain is going to fall, not north. So you see the cluster is mostly like right over Metro Atlanta and south. Thus, all the heavier rains should be down towards south based off the model clustering here on the spaghetti plot. All right. So let's take a look here at the regional model data here. As we take a look at this, this is one of the models. We're going to look at a couple of them here for you, as you can kind of see what's going on here. So just let me get into my interactive mode here. And oops, hold on a second. I got to pop off that real quick. There we go. All right, here we go. So we're looking at, this is the rapid refresh here. I'm going to take my spectacles off here so I can read what I'm looking at here. Sorry about that. All right, so this is our FS. All right, so you can see this one is clearly favoring a southern trajectory here for the heavier rains, right where that red area we showed you earlier. Not seeing a ton of rain here across North Georgia. Gonna get some, but get a lot of this is favoring to the south. Let's compare this with a couple other ones. Let's look at the high resolution model data. Now, the high resolution is a little bit further north. You see what's kind of left of this core, kind of right in here. The high resolution is a little bit further north. Bring some drains, but again, it looks like, right south of Gainesville, south of Rome, but you see some parts of North Georgia don't get a whole lot out of this. As this kind of goes on by, there it goes right there. Let's look at the NAM. We'll look at the high resolution NAM here and take a look at this one. Back this up once again. So you see the NAM coming in here. All right. So again, a lot of North Georgia, like you guys up there, Dahlonega, LJ, Dalton, Blairsville, Clayton, getting toward Canton maybe. Those areas of Canton, Rome, everything's northward. Not a whole lot showing on here, okay? Those are three different models there. And then let me show you the European. Of course, that's my preferred big global model here. And we'll look at the overnight here. Now, of course, this is a higher resolution, not as high resolution as the other ones. But you see where the heavier rains are showing up here. South of Atlanta. I'm not saying we're not going to get rain. We're going to get some rain, folks. I just don't think it's going to be a ton of it based off the latest model guides I'm seeing out there right now for this morning. All right. All right. So let's go look at rain totals. Let's talk rain totals. Let's get into that. All right. So again, this is the European I just showed you, and not that impressive with the rain totals there across North Georgia. See, half inch. The heavier stuff is down south of Interstate 20. Now, we'll say this again, this is tropical rain. So tropical rains typically are underestimated. I always throw that out there a bit, but this is obviously not flooding conditions for us to have to worry about here across the North Georgia area. Now, let's check some of those other models. We'll take a look at those high resolution models here. So let's look at the high resolution model here. Again, this one was further north. So the high resolution, you see 2 inches there, 1.77, 1.89, and you can add almost 3/4 inch to an inch to some of these potential totals because tropical moisture typically gets underestimated on the models, okay? But you see the high resolution is clearly further north than what the European is showing. All right, now let's go to the RRFS. It's very dry. It shows everything down to the south, so not showing a whole lot here. This goes through Thursday, only through 8 o'clock, though, okay? So, but again, this is clear tracking the stuff down to the south, way far south. This one's really favoring, look at this, 11, 12 inches. It's favoring way down to the south, so this might be a little bit too far south. So you got one that's kind of north, one could kind of take the middle ground. You see what I'm seeing where I'm going with that. And let's look at the NAM. Let's look at that one here real quick. And I'll take this all the way out to the end of its run. And it's further north. So you see the duration here through Saturday morning showing 2 inches plus. So the bottom line here is I don't think we're going to get any like oppressive bad flooding here with this particular event. All right. So we're going to get some heavy rains. Exactly how much rain is still a little bit of a question, just depending on the core of where that thing goes. And we're talking tens of miles shifting north or south. So it's, it can be a little finicky. It's something we're kind of getting closer to. Tomorrow will be kind of nowcast mode. We'll have to watch it. So for right now, the forecast today is good. We'll have high rain chances for Thursday. And then Friday, we should start to taper off. And then Saturday's looking pretty good. Saturday and Sunday looking decent. Maybe a scattered storm threat there on Sunday. And then we got another cold front coming here coming in there on your Monday. But let me go ahead and update. I did not switch that over, I don't think. Let me double check that. Yeah, there it is. There's a new one there for you. Okay, so generally looking fairly seasonable going into next week. So really not all that bad. So again, folks, my job is to keep you guys informed, not to make up stuff, and to keep you guys, weather aware what's going on. So for today, enjoy today. It's going to be a great afternoon. Tomorrow, we're looking a little wet. Maybe a little wind mixed in there, possibly a little bit, maybe 15, 20 mile per hour winds maybe. But right now, what we're going to be watching throughout the day is seeing exactly how this thing develops. Does this thing get off the shore? Do we get any kind of thunderstorms developing near the center or not? Does it get a little bit further offshore? Again, all these little variables do make a difference in the performance of the system. It's a weak one. It's not going to be a big deal, okay? Just know we're going to get wet. It's going to get rainy. And we are favoring areas basically south of Interstate 20 for the heavier precipitation to fall. Most of North Georgia, I think, will be reasonable in that 1 to perhaps 2 inch rains at the most. And I think we'll be looking okay overall. Again, I'm going to do another one of these here late this afternoon, probably for the 5 o'clock update from the Hurricane Center, especially if they do end up naming this thing officially later today. We'll see what happens. I'm not totally convinced that's going to happen. It really depends on if this thing gets off into the open waters of the Gulf or not completely. It's just really close to the coastline. All right. Anyway, that's y'all's update. Appreciate you guys checking us out. Y'all be good, stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all later today. Have a good day.